from the same branch and leaves, wild and free, living here in harmony. Don't you see, this is where you want to be. But when you leave, the world is never what it seems. If only we could travel back in time, whoa, right where we belong. Maybe we'll never need a reason why, whoa, dancing till the dawn. If only we could travel back in time, whoa, right where we belong. Maybe we'll never need a reason why, whoa, dancing till the dawn.
Lights are lit and there's sweat on your embrace. One other thing I dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Then another dare. Lights are out and there's sweat on your embrace. One other thing I dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Then another dare. One other thing I dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Then another dare. Then another dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Then another dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Then another dare. Lights are out and there's sweat on your embrace. One other thing I dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Then another dare. Lights are out and there's sweat on your embrace. One other thing I dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Then another dare. Lights are out and there's sweat on your embrace. One other thing I dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Then another dare. One other thing I dare. Lights are out and there's time to your embrace. Then another dare.
I'm still waiting for the answers to the universe. Waiting for someone to wake me up. Tell me that this is all just a dream. I'm still waiting, waiting for a different sign, waiting for someone to take me away. Get these thoughts off my mind. As I wait, thinking of you, hoping that you are thinking of me too. I cannot sleep without you by me, and I miss you, I miss you, I miss That is why I've been waiting for someone like you. That is why I've been waiting for someone like you. Still waiting, waiting for your witty replies, waiting for your touch and kiss. I can't get you off my mind. I am trying to live another day when the lights go down. I've seen hell in you, but you don't care, no, you don't care, no. You just rather watch me fall from a quarter mile. I can see you at the call. Think about it, ring won't tell you what I saw. When you break it off, you'll see who had it all. You had it all. You said you wanted to fall into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, oblivion. Oh, go in.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Overcast, the United Rogue Overwatch podcast. I am going to be your host, Datsupkan, joined with the awesome Andrew. And tonight, it's preseason night, baby. We're going to get into the thick of it, talk about each team, break them down, try to figure out who we think might have gotten away with some steals, some things to come. But that will be for later. For now, we are going to enter into the Emerald Zone. And for that, we have brought on a special guest, the two-time champion, the two-time Roll Star, and the two-time ANA player of all time. We have Biscuit joining us tonight. Biscuit, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Beautiful. And so, with the two-time experience, we're going to talk a little bit about some Emerald. Hopefully, you have some knowledge in that. If not, I have drafted the wrong person in this, and we are inevitably screwed over. But, for now, we're going to jump right on into things, talking about, I think, alphabetically, Atlanta comes first. And the first thing that I want to see, or rather hear from you guys, is the roster. They got Zach Sal. They have a reserve player as well. But looking at some of those players, who stands out to you on that roster?
I mean, for me on the roster, definitely I know Cool a lot because he was our DPS last season. Cool is a really good Hanzo player and all that. I wonder how it's going to do in the meta now because Hanzo isn't very meta right this second.
Big dive meta kind of going on. So, Hanzo did get the projectile buff, though. Do have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Andrew, who are you looking at on this roster of just who do you think steps up and becomes the giga banger for this team?
I did get to see Dogemeister a lot in 10-mans. The dude goes crazy. I think he has a potential to really show up in Emerald for this season. And also, being maxed out, they do get all that value out of their whole team, including out of their support there. So we'll get to see how they really do. I know Tank Doggo and Creepy Tid are both really good supports when I've gotten to play with them and see what they do. So yeah.
Do you know what their kind of preferences are for heroes? Like, are they big flex supports? Are they thinking main supports? Are they Kiri one tricks like Ice?
I think one of them plays Kiri a lot, and also Mara, if I remember that right. I do know what Doge will play Reinhardt and
Correct.
Sigma, I believe.
Yeah, Doge is definitely a big fan of the Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Sigma comes in every now and then. But like you said, you have gotten to see Doge from last season. Both of you got to play with Cool last season. I think for some of the other newer representatives in here, the ones that we don't entirely know a whole lot about, I'm curious to see how that runs. Because kind of Biscuit, what you mentioned, like the meta right now, the Hanzos, not necessarily where everything pulls out. So as of right now, we have just started season 9. We don't have a mid-season patch yet. So that could be coming up. That could change the dynamic of this team. All of a sudden, Poke becomes an extremely valuable asset. We know Zen is still buffed right now as the Giga Chad that Zen is. Do you then see the meta right now inhibiting this team to do good?
I mean, it's really dependent on, I guess, because like you said earlier, this meta is very heavy dive. And I know for Emerald, for the 3 seasons we've had of Emerald, no team's consistently really played dive all that much. I mean, they've played some characters are good in dive, but not a full roster running dive. I guess
in season 2, Mexico City did a pretty good dive team with.
They did.
Yeah, I think Chunky Monkey and other people that they ran a really solid dive team on that one and kind of ran with it.
Okay, I didn't remember. I was trying to remember if anyone ran dive in Emerald decently. Yeah, I was gonna say then if that's the case, yeah. I mean, if they go Poke, that could be a pretty good. That'd be pretty good. I mean, I'm really interested then in how Light and Godkiller would be as DPS. What characters would they play in Poke? Because for Cool and Poke, I feel like he's gonna play Hanzo or Widow, stuff like that.
Honestly, the rest of the team. Ooh, a Reaper and a Poke is a statement. I would love to see Reaper and Poke. But like you kind of mentioned, I think the rest of the team could fill out a Poke. And yeah, meta is a thing, but like you both kind of talked about, Emerald for the past couple of seasons don't really follow the meta as strictly. They just kind of follow along comfort picks. So as other teams try and figure out what works best for them, they might find a poke comp that works. Put Cool on the Hanzo that we saw do very well for you all last season. You know, Doge, as you said, could be put on Sigma. His Orisa is also very good in my opinion. You know, I think these kind of picks would serve well dependent on what some of these other teams are running.
Yeah. Something else that's actually going to be new this season that we didn't really get to experience the previous ones. Maga is now legal, so he's actually able to
Oh my
pick,
God.
and we got to deal with that now. And it was pretty scary to deal with whenever I play him in online.
I mean,
So, I'm gonna be
thank goodness. Thank goodness he got debuffed from what he originally was, because oh my gosh, for a minute there it was, if you pick Maga, if the other guy picks Maga, you better pick Maga or else they're gonna win.
I think Maga right now like is just a scary thing to face if you don't know how to play around him. With you know, talking about earlier with Zen getting that big buff, I also, you know, you pop Discord on him and the DPS passive that's also been introduced. I don't know how well he survives now. I think he could be played in some pretty good rush comps, but you know, looking at Atlanta's roster, you know, if we're still talking Maga specifically, I don't think Doge plays Maga all that much. I don't think there's a whole lot of Maga that has been played for most tanks, to be honest. So for that character, meh. Otherwise, I think that this team definitely could come up and play with some of the topper teams.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll have to see. I mean, that's the biggest thing with Emerald. It's always been like who has the best team cohesion and the best comms usually wins the game.
Right, just taking that extra time to practice with each other, play with each other, make sure you all are having that kind of camaraderie. You know, the power of friendship always wins or something like that. But you know, making sure that you build that synergy, kind of like the next team we're going to talk about here in a sec had for a long time, really does go a long way. So before we hop to the next team, any kind of final thoughts on Atlanta? I have one now that I just said that, but anything from you guys?
More.
I was just gonna say I'm just excited with like how Cool is gonna do in a different system, because like last season before we started, he knew Panda pretty well, and then you know all of us just worked well together. I just, since he's with all people he hasn't really met before, I just wonder how good is that gonna go, you know?
Right, where's that transference of kind of comfort into a new system? I think my last point I was going to make is Ricochet is the GM. Ricochet, for those who don't know, amazing support, a Season 2 Ruby champion, awesome dude. He is a very good entity in this system. I know that JD does not like Ricochet. Well, JD sucks himself, so, you know, we'll address that later. But Ricochet is a great entity in this team, really being able to, you know, work with the guys, you know, talk with all of them and make sure that I think they'll be in a good position of building that synergy and building it quick.
Yeah, I agree. I've had coaching from Ricochet before. He's a pretty good coach.
I played with him when we won Season 2. He, you know what's surprising everyone, he knows some stuff. I'm not gonna lie. But speaking of teams with synergy, you know, both of yours now, former team of Dallas, as you both have moved on to different areas of the world. But Dallas this season, it looks insane because it's not the same roster that we've been seeing for the past couple times. You know, as you two resident experts of Dallas, break down to me some of these new pickups that Panda's been picking up and signing, and give me some good juice opinions.
Yeah, it's been a long ride with me and Biscuit along with Dallas, because the three of us, of me, Biscuit, and Panda, have been like friends for years. We've been like playing together a lot in like other types of leagues too that aren't even Overwatch. So After last season, we kind of just made a mutual agreement that we just, no matter what happens, we're gonna like go separate ways, try to like spice up some stuff, and see what we can do for when we're not together, for a change. But yeah, I'm pretty curious how they'll go because I haven't paid too much attention to what they picked up. But I know that Panda and Log are still on the team from last season, and that they have a good synergy. I know Log's a very good Lucio player, and also gonna flex in other characters too, like Kiryu and Baptiste, I think, or not Baptiste, Bridget. So I know he has a good pool of characters you can pick from, and like plays them pretty well. I'm not certain what type of team they're really going for this season. If they're going for like more rush or for like a potentially dive. Or
well, I think that's kind of hard to say.
Yeah.
Oh god, I'm afraid.
You ready? I'm ready to see Log Ball this season.
Oh.
I'm ready to see Ball.
We're bringing out the Log Ball.
He has played a lot of Ball. Like that's what if he goes in tank if he goes to rank and he's tank, he's Ball. He's like, yes, Ball will win. I've played with him before. I'm like, well, Log, what happens if they counter Ball? He's like, easy. I outball them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ball is kind of meta right now. Like we talked about, Dive is kind of strong. Ball is kind of strong. You know, like the weird thing about that is it is very plausible as only Aeon, is how I'm going to pronounce that name, is DPS. Every other member on Dallas right now is listed as flex. That is, first off, insanity to me. You're just going to swing people around like that. But that to me is a odd circumstance because do you just sit down and play musical chairs of swapping roles, or do you kind of just have that down as, you know, we'll play around for a little bit, finalize the roster and areas in which we really feel strongly about, and kind of go from there? What do you two kind of expect to see from them in that regard?
What I expect for certain for Panda, because I see he's also flex, he's almost 100% DPS.
Oh my god, yeah, he's been kind of lights out for a little bit.
So I believe they went for flex for just like that, well, flexibility, name within it, to like really change around if they really want to try some things, want to try out some new tactics there. But
I think. I was gonna say, like, I think what would be interesting is like if they pick one guy and like he's good at Ramatra, Diva, stuff like that, and then, you know, if you're like, hey, we want to run dive, and then you bring in Log who knows Wrecking Ball, so maybe he can learn like Winston, and he could be like the dive tank while the other guy then goes to support. Because I know Log's main role is support, but
That's
you know,
not the Mercy.
The Mercy.
Oh no! I don't need to
Mercy.
I don't need to see a Ball running in with a Mercy right behind him.
It'd be so good. Yo, you don't know about the Mercy Pocket Ball coming out from Dallas in 2024?
Oh gosh.
It's coming. I'm putting so much money on it.
Yeah.
Just because we said it, now it probably will happen.
Dallas, this is a direct message to you. I want Mercy Pocket Ball. I'm sorry for cutting you off, Andrew.
It's fine. I think from like some conversations with Panda on the side, there's a different player he's looking at for also tank. I think it's Jack, but I'm not 100% certain. And it might be Rush comp. And so like they might have like a kind of a swapping switch there with like Rush and Dive, if that does turn out to be what the case.
Which honestly could be a double-edged sword because, yes, that's awesome to have that flexibility, but sometimes switching between them, you know, having your tank constantly rotated out does lead to a little bit of bumps in the road. I'm curious to see if, you know, if they decide with Jack on the rush, or if they decide Log on Ball, and kind of just stick with that for a while. If that's that route that they go, you know, if we pick that Mercy Pocket Ball comp and just figure it out from there, or if they experiment, because, you know, the thing about this season is it's longer than the past couple. You know, we have 7 games. You have opportunities to experiment a little bit. So I kind of want to see them mess around a little bit. I think they have this flexibility for a reason. I want to see them pull out the ball.
Yeah, and I know Luck has the really good movement on it too. He's really practiced it from what I've seen.
I mean, it sounds to me like we're gonna get Mercy Ball then, and I am so okay with it.
Can we also throw a little for a DPS? Can we have a Junkrat in there just for the meme?
Oh yeah, we always have to have Junkrat.
We can allow it. We're feeling generous.
At least week 1.
At least week 1. Blank will be proud.
Yeah, all teams have to run Junkrat. That's a requirement, by the way. That's within the guidelines that you definitely signed. If you don't remember that,
if you want cool kid points, bust out the Junkrat.
It's in the fine lines of the contract that everybody and nobody signed at the same time. Yeah. Really hard offer. So then, yeah, I mean, Dallas, looking at this gives me, I think my biggest worry is their flexibility, which is a very odd sentence to say. But I think overall, we've seen how good they've been in the past, 2-time champion. I'm curious to see how they kind of follow up with this season.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, we're going to jump from Dallas to a team that has been trying to find their way around a little bit. And this time, I think they have a pretty decent roster. We're looking at Montreal, and honestly, there's some players on here that I think could do some damage. Seuss is definitely one that speaks to me. Seuss was on Chicago last season, did pretty well. We have the return of Sugar and Booger Bear coming in. So I am kind of excited to see some of them coming out. I'm not sure if you guys have, seen some of their gameplay or kind of know their hero rosters, but what are your initial thoughts with Montreal as is right now?
I mean, yeah, like you said, in previous seasons we've seen him. He's done pretty well. I'm very interested to see how Dead Inside is, because this is one of the few teams that have their tank as their cheapest starting roster player. Like he is he is at 170, but also Montreal has the most expensive player signed out of all the teams with a 280.
Can confirm, also true.
Yeah.
I do see it's there.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because they also have 3 flex, and their 3 flex are their highest sal. So it's like, I wonder who out of those 3 are going to be the other support, and then the other 2 will be DPS. Like, who's going to be the other support?
I think I am looking at the wrong thing. I'm pretty sure that I know for Amani, I believe is roughly the same kind of south throughout. A very flexible player in that regard, so you can swap them in on DPS or support and get roughly the same kind of result from it. I'm not entirely sure about Sugar Bear though. As I take a deep dive into the looks of it. Yeah. I mean, it looks like relatively they're all within the same kind of areas. Their roles roughly being the same in there. So I think this is a similar situation to Dallas where you have a little bit of flexibility. Obviously not as much in terms of the tank positioning. But I think this is another situation where you have this ability to interchange. Maybe one of them is a god tier Lucia, and you just throw them in on that. And the other 2 just kind of have to figure it out on DPS. Like, where do you think they prioritize that? Do you think they put their biggest and baddest in the DPS or that remaining support?
I think they're gonna. I was gonna say. I think Sos is gonna go DPS. Honestly.
I'm curious for a moment because I think that they like kind of go throughout all roles. From like the few times I've talked with them. But I think it could also really be map dependent if they kind of see a like a kind of team they want to run, depending on like what role or like what type of map. Like if they're on like a New Queen Street or something, then they have that ability to like utilize high grounds or something with one person with like a Sojourn or whatever. Or if they like want to use like some of the corners more on other maps, they could like go more sneaky with like Reaper or Sombra and like maybe swap around people with that, depending on what they kind of want to be comfortable with playing.
That's a great point. Maps are going to be a thing that we talk about a little bit more later on, but I think having this map dependency for your roster, that flexibility does have a point where it shines out a little bit and gives them that option. Like you said, all right, we're going to enter King's Row. Let's bust out the Reinhardt. Let's play a good Rein. Even though, it's not a great pick right now. We're kind of just, we're hanging on there for Rein. My boy's going through some tough times.
Not the greatest. Right
Poor
now.
lad. But something in Biscuit you mentioned earlier, Dead Inside being their lowest sal and on the tank. Do you think that is... How much of an issue do you think that is for them? Like, on a scale of 1 being it's chill to 10 being they're doomed.
I mean, like I said earlier, the biggest thing about Emerald that's gone true for the 3 seasons there's been is it's all about cohesion. Now, for Dallas that me and Andrew have been on, Andrew's always been one of the more expensive tanks, and we've done pretty well. Obviously, though, in Season 2, DPS kind of reigned king of Season 2. I need to see how Dead Inside plays as a tank to fully, you know what I mean? Because he could just be, as a tank, I mean, he could just run in as like Zarya or whatever and just bubble his DPS and then they could just melt. Or he could be a diva, or, like he could be one of those tanks that are just like body shields for their team or to help with their DPS or whatever, and that would work out fine with him being a lower Sal,
Right. I think that's a good point. And something that you kind of mentioned that we probably also need to talk about is Season 2, you said, DPS kind of come in, shred through, win game, LOL. That's kind of where the meta is right now. DPS with their new passives, they feel strong. And I think teams are going to kind of realize pretty quickly your DPS are gonna have to step it up in this regard. Your tank obviously still, needs to play with the team, needs to have that same synergy, but I think a lot more is resting on the DPS shoulders this season it has.
Yeah, I agree. The reason why I did the whole Zarya thing is just because, like, okay, like if you have a Genji and he's diving in, you could bubble him. That way, then at least Zarya is not only helping Genji, but then Zarya could just walk in behind him and just beam people down.
Oh yeah, especially after Zarya's hot fix too, where Zarya got to get a little bit of that juice coming in. Zarya feels a little bit strong right now as well.
Cleanse too is really strong here.
Oh, that is true. Especially kind of going through Junker Queen very strong, so getting rid of that bleed, and when she ults, getting through that anti is going to be helpful. I think we just have to kind of see, like, this is just an odd place to be in when half your team can just kind of roll around and not much is known about their hero pools. If you have 2 projectile based characters and no hit scan, then don't really have that option of running a poke. So you have the flexibility, but then you gotta hope the team's got the flexibility, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Montreal, looking not only to kind of figure out where they fall in terms of just themselves, but also looking to figure out where they fall in terms of Emerald again, as they drop from Ruby into Emerald for another season, trying to figure that out. But a team that is completely new and looking kind of sick with their color scheme, New Orleans has, according to this sheet, an unfinished roster, which is false advertisement. Everyone can thank Bowser for not finishing the sheet. I told him about it. He did nothing. Blame Bowser. Please put that in the chat. So it does say they have 4 people, but I can confirm there is a 5th member signed. I would have to go through and find them. So while you guys,
said it was Koi.
Yes, that's what it is.
Earlier, yeah.
Koi for DPS. So having that team, and this is another team where their lowest sal is tank. So kind of some of the points we just made, we can repeat a little bit. But this time, this team is very rigid in what else they can bring. Plus, with Koi, I think they don't go max sal. I could be wrong.
He's a 230. He's a 230 DPS. So no, they are not max sal. They should have 80 left.
Yeah, roughly. Which leaves a little bit on the table. I wonder if there might be another signing coming down. Maybe just have the reserve player in the mix just to have that in. But for what players are drafted right now, we've seen Koi play pretty well. The others, I don't think I recognize. I think they're kind of new commodities to me personally.
I think they are all people, yeah.
So we have a entirely, outside of Koi, rookie team, so to speak. First season with UR. Do you think that bodes well for them? Kind of coming in a little bit underdog status, or do you think that might show up quickly?
I mean, with knowing the history of how Emerald's gone, it proves to have, team cohesion, all that. I mean, if they're sitting there practicing a lot, they're gonna do just fine. If they're not practicing a ton and then they're just coming into this as this is like their first kind of competitive thing of Overwatch, I could see it being a bit of a problem for them because it's mostly cohesion. I mean, if they just don't have cohesion, it's like, all right, well, on our roster, who's the shot caller? Who's, gonna be the main support? Who's gonna do this,
Kind of just making sure that the roles are established a little bit there.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not having potentially people who are as used to a online setting like this for teams. that could be a thing that Dwayne's on a little bit. I think if they get that team synergy, they're gonna do a lot better than previously projected. But also not having that, I guess, maxed out salary, because we know that Koi is in there and they have about 80 left, right?
Yeah.
So might be a deficit, but also from previous seasons, we know that could just be maybe you got the underdog boost where you're actually like top 2 guaranteed, no matter what happens. So
this is true.
It is
true.
We've
been proven wrong about this before.
We have been proven wrong before, but the biggest thing with me on this whole team is just, how much do they play together? We've never seen these people outside of Koi, I think, play together in the league. At least I don't remember. They might have. I don't know if they have.
I don't think anyone is a returning player from last season. Looking at these names, I don't remember. I don't think anybody was on a team from last season. Mm-hmm. Outside of Koi again, kind of like we talked about. So we have this just new commodity here in Emerald. And kind of like what you mentioned, the underdog low sal, punch above their weight class could be their storyline for this season.
Yeah, very well could be. We saw it with Washington. I think last season they were way under salary. And
they could have
made all
afforded
these
like a
brands.
whole Ruby
yeah.
person, and they, like you guys said, went into grand finals.
Not only made it to grand, they like showed they deserved to be there, like fully.
Yeah,
Like,
they were
they
great.
had the like synergy down for anyone in Emerald. Like they proved that salary cap being undervalued did not matter for their team.
Mm-hmm.
Once and for all, the power of friendship really just comes through. As you know, they, like you guys said, really came in. But we can talk a little bit more about Washington in a sec. We have one team before them that Biscuit might want to talk about, considering it's your team. Ottawa Savage taking a look. Biscuit on the support. And then we have some other well-known players. We've got Chris with a K and Kamani in here. I mean, like, the floor is yours. Like, you for sure sell me right now why your team is winning this whole thing.
We like to run dive.
All right.
And we like Winton.
Classic.
so I mean, I've been trying to learn some Lucio to help with it, but we're gonna be trying to run dive. I think it'd be great. I think overall, besides that, I think that besides the whole dive thing, I know Chris can play multiple different kinds of tanks. I know I can play multiple different kinds of support. So can Kamani. Our DPS, I'm pretty sure they can play multiple types. Our new people are our DPS. I know you said that. I know that you said this is going to be a DPS heavy season. And I think we can be good there. It's just our new people.
Right, and it's just about kind of bringing them in. It's interesting to see kind of when you find those new pieces, bringing them into an existing system, figuring out where those roles lie and if they shift. I would hope and feel free to spill as much juice as you would like, but like for Smooth and Laggy Puppy, their hero pools, what do they look like? Are we looking at a crazy hit scan player? Best Ash player this side of the Mississippi, as Smooth would say. Are we looking at anything crazy like that? Or do we know kind of little about them?
I think they're pretty flexible. I've seen them. We've played a good amount of like unranked and stuff together and some ranked. They're pretty flexible with the DPS they can play.
Gonna be a little unpredictable, I see.
Yeah, they're gonna be a bit unpredictable. I mean, it really calls for what do we see out of the enemy team. We're just gonna adapt to it and run with it.
Which I think definitely deserves a lot more credit than the initial value of it. We talk a lot about synergy, talking a lot about power of friendship, but adaptation is something that we've seen throughout several series, throughout several seasons, have changed the tide. Having these teams during just mid-match, small adjustments, major adjustments, whatever the case may be, being able to make those in the first place and say, hey, listen, dive is not working. They're running this anti-dive setup. Let's just poke them out. Let's swap real quick, have this long-range fight. But I think having, this roster set up the way that it seems like it is, I think it could definitely stack up top 3.
Yeah, I think we're pretty up there. I like to think we're pretty up there.
From not having heard anything about it, I do look at the roster myself and I'm like, there's a lot of strong players here. I feel like basically everyone here is like a really strong pick.
I mean, I know
Chris I consider to be basically equal to me, honestly, for tanking. We've been fighting each other like every season, and it always feels like I could go either way from like just our skill levels compared to each other. And then Biscuit obviously extremely strong support, but what I consider probably the best support in Emerald. And then Kamani, another strong support, even though they're lower sal, they're still really good. Yeah. And then Smooth and Laggy are from what I believe I've seen from them, they are also like really solid picks. Like I think they do well about picking off people from like the small amount of things I've seen from them. So I'm very interested to see how this team goes and all throughout the season.
Strong contenders for sure to punch into that upper echelon, but a team that punched into the upper echelon last season when absolutely nobody thought they could. We have Washington come up, and we see familiar names. We see familiar strats of being fairly under Sal. I think we need to first address the elephant in the room. We cannot just look at them and say, "Oh, yep, 120 Sal left on the board. They're washed. They're done."
Oh no, absolutely not.
I think we gotta trust what Ice is cooking. My man's been in the lab with the pen and the pad. But talk to me a little bit about looking at this roster and kind of seeing, some familiar faces, and then talking about seeing some new faces. What do we like? What do we not like?
First thing I see is that Zuwab is no longer with them. I think they're GM for Ruby now.
Yes, GM for San Diego.
Yeah, I know they were another very strong tank player down in Emerald, and the cohesion between the whole team from last season was just phenomenal.
Yeah,
they were outstanding on the way they played together and the synergy they had for like all the plays they went for. I believe. Do we have like three people with the same?
I
believe Apache, Ice, and Big Dog have stayed.
Yeah, which Icy and Big Dog supports are staying. It's actually going to be really good for them. Apache also very strong DPS. Another like top name DPS I would be looking at in Emerald. And,
another great Hanzo. Kind of we mentioned Cool earlier. Yeah. Pretty well known for the Hanzo. Apache also pretty clean on the Hanzo.
But also I know they're also very strong on Sombra, and that's very very good at disrupting people.
So then now we got to look towards our new. We are looking at the new people, and apparently I'm saying that with quotes because Ice is saying some interesting stuff in the chat. Cobb's our starter for 3 seasons. I don't entirely believe it.
I don't remember. I don't for some reason remember the name. Did they change their name, or am I just very bad at remembering? That might probably is the latter.
I mean, unless it's like they've changed their name because there was a Cobbleton for last season, so maybe just a quick little name change there. If that's the case, I blame Ice for not informing us properly. 100% blame sent that way. Take all your comments over there.
Oh, it's
having said that,
okay.
That would be my best guess.
Actually, that does make sense.
I will say they do have Cobbleton on their team. They do, yeah. Because we did a scrim against them, so I know they definitely have Cobbleton.
Oh, is it just being a little odd? Oh, okay, foliage. So I guess it's just not the same name as like in game.
That's what's confusing me. So then, name issues aside, there are for sure 2 new people on this team. Ice, so help me God, if you come in this chat and say otherwise, I will actually have a fit. Let's talk about those, especially kind of what you guys were mentioning, a new tank. Zuop now going over to the GM role. We have Kiki on the tank. What do we think is that like upgrade? Is that downgrade? What are we thinking for that?
In only way it's really a downgrade might be just they're not used to the synergy yet. Because I know that I'm pretty certain the whole roster from last season were like COD buddies and the COD League for Unit Rogue. So they may not have that down, but they will have like the experience on knowing how to like probably bring them back up to speed. So it probably won't be much of a hindrance, if anything. They'll probably be able to pick it up real quick.
This is true. So then, like you kind of mentioned, their biggest hurdle so far just seems to be getting the rest of the team up to speed. Those two new players, getting them in with the squad, figuring out kind of what play styles they want to run, what things they want to try to avoid. Do you see this team breaking into the grand finals again?
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a solid chance. I don't think the salary limit is gonna be as much of a thing. People are gonna skepticize this time. They know how some of these guys play, and if they have 4 of the same people, that's a pretty strong argument for them to be back in.
It is a pretty strong core as well. Like you said, we've seen what they can do before. Let's see if they can kind of repeat that success. But now we're looking at Washington, kind of talk about their Sal. We need to see how they fare against everybody else in power rankings. Because if we take a look at our entire batch, are we feeling going bottom up or are we going top bottom? I typically like my power rankings bottom up, but if you fine gentlemen would like to go top down, I'm okay with that.
I'll let our guest to pick.
Yeah, let's see what you're feeling.
It's not on me. Let's go.
we can do from bottom up, and also I mean like these power rankings are gonna be pretty scuffed because we've literally not seen a minute of these teams play together.
No internal scrim bucks can be found. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But talking at number 6, then, I have my thought, and I would like to defer it and wait till I hear a 6th place team from you all, because I have my reasoning.
I have my reasoning too, not because I don't think they wouldn't do well this season, but just because I just don't know much about them, and that's kind of the only thing I'm going off of. I'm going to have New Orleans for now at 6th.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. It's just they're new people. They're just new people. I've not seen any one of them really play outside of Koi, so it's just I don't know. I mean, I have no idea how they'll be.
There's always that danger of not knowing, though, because we talked a little bit about Ruby last season for Mexico City. When the preseason podcast came out for that, they had 2 players drafted, I think, and despite some scheduling errors, they could have easily been a top 3 team. So yes, I agree with you both. The unknowing, for personal reasons, is just a hard thing to sell me on. As well as just the low sal tank. Yes, DPS are kind of meta right now. You gotta make sure that your tank can still provide that space, and have that same understanding of the game. So I think New Orleans sitting at 6 doesn't bother me too much.
I will mention that tank is the self-proclaimed disciple of me. Just want to give him a shout out for that. I don't fully
listen, I'll take
that I've given to tell them much, but that they'll take whatever knowledge they can. I'll go with it.
I am excited for a self-proclaimed disciple of Andrew. Number 5, I personally want to go Montreal. After New Orleans. I don't know if that... Okay. Andrew, thoughts?
I don't know. This is a little harder for me to say on. I might have a different answer for this one than Montreal. But
what do you got?
I'd like to hear what Biscuit says first.
So the only reason why, for me, I'm saying Montreal at 5 is because my kind of biggest question with the team is, for one, how well is Dead inside going to play for Montreal? Because we already know Sauce and whatever. Sauce is gonna do their job. He's gonna do good stuff. We already know that. And then from there, their DPS, are at least going to be, I think, going to be all right. The biggest question for me is tank, which in Emerald, tank has usually been like the biggest thing that everyone's like, I need a good tank to succeed. You know what I mean?
Right. For me, Montreal coming in next, just because, like you mentioned, Zeus South's unfortunate name has been a very good player. I think my issue has been the entire org throughout UR Overwatch has been a little rough. In Emerald, not necessarily got the best results. Had a couple of map wins here and there. Up in Ruby, again, a similar structure of, didn't really find a whole lot of success. Maybe this could be the season they turn it around. Maybe this could be their big 180. They climb to the top. But history is, one to repeat itself in time. So that's why I'm seeing Montreal a little low.
Yeah, after hearing y'all talk about it, I actually am gonna stick it on at least for now, Montreal at 5th. Yeah, I just haven't seen, I haven't really gotten to see much anyways, so I really can't say that they're gonna like have not a great track record because we haven't got to really notice what they can do yet. But they're kind of other than New Orleans, my biggest mystery about how they're gonna play.
So then, if you didn't have Montreal in 5, who were you gonna suggest? / who becomes your number 4 then?
So this is gonna be my hottest take.
Yes. Bring out the spice.
When looking at like all of the teams and like what I know from Cohesion that we've had in the past, I might have to say Dallas is 4. We've had like our 4th.
You mean 5th?
Montreal.
No, we have Montreal.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, no.
Only because half of our cohesion that we had from the previous season is now a missing link.
Honestly, I
if
kind
that's what it
of
comes down to, that might be what is the difference for now.
me right now. I'm stuck between Washington and Dallas. I really like the point you made about Dallas losing a majority of that roster that really made it click, only really leaving 2 players. The flexibility, like we talked about earlier, can be good, but also could lead to their downfall. Honestly, I might be convinced that Dallas could pull it out with the flex. I kind of was leaning Washington for 4. For a similar reason almost of just a different team, a different setting, really making sure that your DPS have the ability to come in and go through. We know Apache is great on, Soldier, on Hanzo. Outside of those 2 characters, I don't know a whole lot. So I kind of want Washington 4th. I like Dallas 4th. Biscuit, what are your thoughts on this?
So when it comes to I'm on the same boat where it's like either Dallas or Washington 3 and 4. When it comes to Dallas, I mean, I know they have like Log. I know Andrew can agree to this, but when we first got Log helped us a lot with like bringing the team together to like know how to work better. I think Log is a good like telling people like, hey, this is what you should do. You know what I mean? And it helped us a lot. I don't know if it really helped Andrew all that much. I know for me, as I was an Ana player, he helped me with like saying like, this is where you got to position better, and stuff like that. And that's how we were able to work so well together for so long as a support duo. Yeah, I would put Dallas at 4 because with Washington, I know Washington's always had at least good vibes, and I don't expect much less this season. Like, I'm sure they're having a party when they play and they're having fun. You know what I mean?
This is fair. All right, so 2-1 Dallas on 4.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like.
So then, do we want to just safe agree Washington 3rd?
I will put. I'll put Washington at 3rd.
I actually am not going to do that.
Oh my God, he's selling.
I'm double hot taking, but also I don't know if I can fully say a difference between 3rd and 2nd. I actually think that Washington would be tied with a 2nd place with another team, but at least for now. And I think that would be with Atlanta. Because
Really?
I think they both I know that Washington has like the potential for like to just completely go through and make it to like finals.
They have the upset alert.
Yeah, and it's not gonna be an upset this time because we can expect it now.
In theory.
Also, I'm not selling Icy. You ain't paying me anything. But yeah, I think that they are kind of tied with potential with Atlanta. Because Akul is also super strong as a pick, and then the rest of the team on Atlanta is also another strong like asset.
Yeah.
Them also being like solidified on their roles, they're gonna have that like practice that's gonna stay consistent with whatever they run.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I can't really pick between them for who would be over the other right now.
Okay.
Especially not being able to like get any footage to see them how they play yet because we're gonna have to wait for that.
So then you're a little torn. Biscuit, are you full sending Atlanta 3rd, or are you with me on Washington 3rd?
I'm putting Washington at 3rd. Atlanta, I just think Atlanta's DPS duo is so good. I am so like I think it is like cool from last season being with him and how he rode and stuff. Yeah, he's a very good DPS, and I'm sure that Ricochet being their coach, being able to help him from the start of the season. I mean, like you guys said earlier, I think we have 7 games this season, so
correct.
Having almost 2 months to be able 2 months at the least to where Ricochet can coach you, and they already have a good DPS and a good tank. Yeah, I gotta say Washington will be 3rd, even though with Washington, their cohesion I'm sure will get really good as it did last season, like towards the middle.
With due time,
yeah, due time. But I have to say Washington for now is 3rd.
All right, so now we go to 2nd place, and I think I might get outvoted here. Because Andrew, you would then put Atlanta at 2nd, right?
As a placeholder single team, sure.
All right. Biscuit, I'm assuming you're putting Atlanta in 2nd?
I'm really torn because I do not want to sound
biased.
I do not want to sound biased.
No, sound very biased.
No, I'm not going to sound very biased. I'm going to just say for now, because Atlanta is the team I look at with the most worry. I am going to put Ottawa at 2nd because
I would agree.
I don't doubt we would have I think like if Ottawa versus Atlanta played right now, like that would be one in really good series. I don't know how that would necessarily go.
I think definitely 5-mapper for sure. But kind of like you said,
it's going the distance for sure.
Right, like you said, like Ottawa at this point is a great roster set up. You all have started playing with each other, started scrimming with each other, starting to build that synergy. I think you guys have great players in great positions. I think the same could be said, rough, about Atlanta, with the added benefit of, like we talked about, Ricochet being that GM in the driver's seat of, hey, let's do a VOD review. Let's go over some things. Let's practice a little bit. Let's talk about these things. Having just the veteran presence there with you all, or with them, excuse me, I think really pushes them kind of over the limit.
Well, also, besides that, I mean, they also have Cool and they have Doge Cole's only played one season. I think Doge has played multiple seasons
Doge has played. Yeah, Doge has played every season. But season 1 was in Ruby.
Right. So he has a lot of in the league experience, which is always great to have on these kind of teams, especially Doge is their tank, I'm very certain.
Yes.
As Doge as the tank, who's usually the voice of the team, as your most vetted player, that's always a good start to have.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying, I know with Ottawa, I mean, we have 3 players. I'm pretty sure the 3 players have played all 3 seasons up to this point. I think I think Chris might have skipped a season. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I know he definitely played season 1. I don't know. Did he play last season?
Chris? Yes. Chris played
okay.
on Chicago, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, and us versus Chicago when me and Andrew were both on Dallas was always the most intense matchup all the time. Because it was so just scary, dude. It was for all 3 seasons, Chicago was just like, we're just staring at it like, all right, who's gonna blink? It was always a good series. So yeah, I'll put for now Ottawa 2.
So then our final standings, from bottom up, 6 we have New Orleans, 5 we have Montreal, 4 we have Dallas, 3 we have Washington to Ice's dismay, 2 we have Ottawa to Biscuit's dismay, and 1 we have Atlanta to everybody's dismay. Sounds like we're doing a good job.
Sounds solid.
Everyone's dismay.
We're ruining everyone's day. It's great.
Hey, listen, that's my job, baby. Awesome. So then, yeah, I mean, power rankings set up. Any last kind of final thoughts, Biscuits, for the season before we transition over to Ruby?
I think this Emerald season is gonna be the most interesting because so many teams got mixed up across each other. Like Dallas now, the old roster is now across 2 different leagues.
I think 4.
And
Koi was our reserve for last season too.
Yeah, he was. Sorry, so we have to count then. What is it? 5 teams the old Dallas roster is across of, and we also have Andrew, who's now out in Ruby. So a lot of the teams in Emerald have a Dallas player on it. So it's just going to be very interesting to see. You know, there's also other teams that got mixed up as well. I just look at it and I'm like, this is going to be such an interesting season because I don't like New Orleans is obviously the biggest question mark because we don't know much about them. You know, the only one we know of is Koi, and Koi is also a 2-time champion. He's back to back. He's back to back.
They're the only back-to-back one.
The only
It's crazy. That's crazy. I'm not in the car right now.
That is yeah, that's the fun fact about Koi. He is back to back. He won season 2 and season 3. I don't know if he played in the grand finals for either, but he is back to back. So
hey man, if you get a ring.
Hey man, I mean that's true. That's gonna be interesting to see. Yeah, just with definitely at least Dallas always like we just mixed it up hard this season, and I'm sure as we see there's a lot of new faces in Emerald and there's a whole new team. There's now more games. I'm just excited to see how different this season will go versus the other seasons, you know.
Definitely. Yeah, a lot of new and old guard coming in. It'll be really interesting because it's gonna be those veterans who know how to run this, know what they're doing with their other teams and synergies and talking with commentary and all that. So really excited to see.
We're also gonna have the new people come in and surprise us. I'm sure. You know, a lot of these names that we had mentioned, they could really rise up, step up on the plate, and kind of show us what they're made of.
I mean, I know in season 2, they, like I said, when DPS basically ran Emerald, those DPS that were there were all new like they were the ones that were in grand finals were mostly new people on the DPS, and now obviously I think we have a couple of them up in Ruby, so it will be interesting. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Biscuit, for joining us. Very insightful. We look forward to a good season down in Emerald. And good luck to all the teams down there. But for now, we are going to go swap to the side of things I can talk about a little bit more of since I've played in it. Andrew has now joined me in it. We're going to switch over to Ruby. And Andrew's absolutely excited. He can tell. But again, we are going to need a little bit of backup. So we will have some special guests joining us as well. A Season 2 runner-up, Season 3 champion, and seasoning cookies with nothing but love and salt. We have Minky and Nezumi joining us for Ruby. How are the two of y'all doing tonight?
Hello, doing good.
We're doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I am hungry.
Understandable.
I love you, soup.
Oh, it takes BB. But I'm not going to love you now because you've betrayed me.
Oh.
You betrayed me.
Oh.
No. I have betrayed absolutely no one and everyone at the same time.
Listen, we can collectively blame Bowsy.
That is so true.
This is factual. So, we're going to jump into Chicago, which I think has the most new players. English is hard. The collective most new players, I think. Ghostface has been around. Everyone else I don't recognize, if I'm to be frank.
So we actually know Shogun Apple. Well, they're a friend of ours from RIT. They're pretty decent. Very good at Zen.
Scary.
They're playing support, so I'm expecting to see a lot of Zen out of them.
And that's pretty decent right now.
Zen's pretty good right now.
Only a little good? Only slightly good?
Just somewhat.
Just somewhat.
Somewhat.
He
does not throw basketballs. By the way.
You're telling me Zen is not the new Kobe, just shooting threes all day into people's heads?
He does not throw entire buildings at people, or 5 of them at once.
LeBron POV got it.
LeBron POV.
So Shogun apparently pretty not bad. Pretty not bad.
Veritas, I was actually looking to sign initially, but I couldn't snag him. I didn't have enough salary, so sad.
Honestly, it seems like you missed out. Because you've missed out on me, missed out on them, missed out on JD.
I just keep
not a miss it.
Nothing works, and then I even brought Toast in, and then Toast got nabbed.
Can't afford anyone.
We're broke. We're
poor.
Surely you just buy someone's happiness at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
But you were looking to sign Veritas. Is that because you watched them in 10-mans, watched them in scrims, just kind of saw big salary, big number, good player? What was the thought process with that?
The thought process was big salary, big player, and signed to tank, so I didn't have to play tank. Smile.
Ah, classic.
Yes.
Well,
however, I will be probably still playing tank.
Seems that way, but it seems that Veritas won't be playing tank for their team. As looking at their squad, I think Veritas is kind of stuck on DPS unless they decide to play around with Sal, play around with players.
Mm-hmm.
Their tank is Ghostface, who I want to say played last season. I'm not 1,000% sure.
I recognize the name from somewhere.
I didn't recognize it.
They were on Mexico City. I just can't remember what role they played.
Oh, that makes sense because they never played.
Ooh. Well, no, to be fair, they did play one time, it was the playoffs. And they looked actually, like, nutty.
Yeah, they looked decent.
They did look pretty
They
good.
did have Toast Lucio, too. Which is kind of abysmal. Like, destructive. So unreasonably terrifying.
Yeah, God, and you wonder why people are mad at you.
No.
So then, kind of looking at the rest of their squad, they have some lower sals in Big Green and Nanomouse for the support and DPS. They have, I can only say drop in that entire name, so I apologize. But they have them as their reserve with a pretty high sal, only being able to sub in for Shogun or Veritas if need be. Do we think that presents an issue or a strategy?
Honestly, I can't really tell, because actually let's pull up the roster again. We lost it. Oh, there it is. Because they're new this season, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I feel like we gotta see what they're capable of and where they can slot in, because I honestly can't tell. I think their backline is pretty set, I feel, with Shogun Apple, and they'll probably I straight up I can't tell. They could go anywhere. I feel like they're a wild card at this point.
It is unfortunate because it's definitely the team that I think I know the least about. Mm-hmm. So, it's kind of what we were talking about in Emerald, where you look over at New Orleans and just kind of look at the players and go, yes, you filled out the intention form. What are you doing here? So, they're kind of the just up in the air. We got to see what's going on. I am interested to see surely I know how to spell. Yeah. Ghost this year being on tank instead of last season playing on support definitely is interesting to me. I wonder how that's going to go. Something that we brought up during Emerald that I would love to hear, because I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it anyway. Do we see Mauga in Ruby?
I don't think so. No.
I knew it. I just wanted to hear it.
Just given a lot of the players in Ruby know how to hold their own ground, and Mauga unfortunately blows up against most people at this point.
Anything.
I feel like at least one team won't be running Mauga, and that will be the Halifax Lancers.
Yeah, because you're on tank and you refuse to play Mauga.
I'm so bad at Mauga.
What a perfect segue into the next team, which both of you happen to be on, and we will for sure be seeing Mauga. He just promised it, actually.
Oh, of course. You gotta play Mauga now. You gotta play Mauga.
This is what you get for dumping me and JD. Carmen,
we tried.
I swear.
You guys also try to get a 4-man roster.
Listen,
the spreadsheet does not.
I was in the kitchen and everything caught on fire.
In the lab with the pen and the pad, except you only had a pencil and a sticky note.
Yes.
That being said, for what you cooked, it's a pretty good deal. I mean, obviously playing with both of you last season, incredible players, know a lot about the game. We know Walrus is another amazing player. Boy Wonder played for a team last season. I'm currently blanking on which one.
Ciudad de Mexico, I think.
I think so. Believe so. Yes, Mexico. Probably why I'm forgetting, because like you said earlier, they played twice. But then I think you personally brought in this ringer of Jay Swessler.
Yes.
Talk to me about that. Am I looking at the next greatest Widow player of our generation?
This is the next fresh of Ruby. Oh
God.
I will not lie. The man is actually a really good hit scan player.
Okay.
I don't know how. I don't know what he like. He's probably doping. But I swear to God, he'll randomly pull out like a Widow or a Soj, and he'll just fucking go off, and you would never expect it.
Now, is this streaky pop off, or is this kind of playing, doing all right, and then all of a sudden, boom, snap up, Widow God, you lose?
Straight up, it's kind of like that, and the guy is like a Kiri Mercy 2-trick.
and we're putting him on DPS.
Yes, this is the new fresh DPS fresh. And Boy Wonder
played a little.
Boy Wonder looked pretty solid from what I remember. I remember him playing on. Was
on
he on
playoffs?
Was he on Chicago 2 seasons ago?
Yeah, most of our
I believe
knowledge
so,
about these
yes.
characters are from people are from 2 seasons ago.
Back in OG Plague.
OG Plague.
When we got to grand finals against Pitt.
Baby, sorry, excuse me.
Wait, was he on Pitt? Boy Wonder?
No, Boy Wonder was not on Pitt.
What was he on? I'm trying to remember.
Boy Wonder, I think you had it right. I think Boy Wonder was on Chicago.
With Adam.
But I don't know if he was he lower, like Emerald Chicago or Ruby Chicago?
No, Ruby Chicago.
We played against
Okay,
him.
I remember playing against his horse, particularly. And he was like pretty okay. Oh my god, that clip's disgusting. Okay, anyways.
Hype yourself up, do it.
Wait, say that again?
So, Boy Wonder was Chicago last season.
Yeah.
Or 2 seasons ago. As we can only look from 2 seasons ago, apparently.
Sedge.
But yeah, I mean, like, it seems like you guys have a really good roster. Clearly, you are gonna run the power of friendship again.
Probably.
It worked out pretty good last season. Not gonna lie.
It did.
Wow.
In the words of Adbon himself, the power of love and this gun I found. So.
Yes.
What a beautiful quote. Speaking of the man, the myth, the absolute utter tank god, we're going to Houston, baby, and Adbon is not playing Zarya this season. What are
thank
thoughts
God.
on that?
Oh, I'm saved.
Oh man.
Poor Andrew was shaking in his boots.
As friends with Adbon, I can say for a fact he's been complaining about how much he hates Tank.
What a surprise!
Understand.
Yeah.
Who could tell?
Who could tell? Oh man.
But unfortunately, it's not just Adbon on that team. There are
Sure.
other people, including, and I said I would do this before the podcast started, the return, the revival, the absolute come up after getting knocked out of Pitt, a season later, and this time Halifax. The return of JD Darkclaw, absolute big man on scene.
I'm so excited.
We're so excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm sorry we couldn't get
I
JD.
tried,
We couldn't
I
afford
swear.
you.
We're just poor. It's not our fault.
But no, we're excited to see you.
Especially because
gameplay.
he could swap between tank and DPS. They have Arunas who, from what I remember, is also DPS and tank. Those two could be swapping in and out.
Arunas is a rat. That guy was supposed to sign with me, and then he left the last minute.
Now you know how JD feels like 7
That's what I'm
times over.
saying.
So I mean,
JD was not my fault. Arunas had full control over the situation. I blame him.
if I've ever heard of a womp womp situation,
That is the biggest
That is-
womp of all time.
But looking at the full roster, Soup comes back with Trash Can. That support duo was very good last season.
Yeah.
Pulled out some great results. We know Adbon can play a character or two. Overall, just a couple. What do we think in terms of this team after kind of knowing a lot of these interactions between these players? We know Soup, big Lucio fan. Trash Can, last I remember, is big Ana fan, which, Ana's kind of mid in the meta right now. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. She kind of gets run over.
Yeah.
I think this team is going to, really test the boundaries of whether the, tank, the fake tank aspect of this new patch is really real or not, and if the DPS line of effectively Adam and JD can kind of just smash through people.
Honestly, I definitely could believe that Adbon can run the house through some of these
100%.
teams.
100%.
We are being told the JD Torb is unmatched. I have yet to see this, so I will not believe it until we put JD in a lobby on Torb. But
I believe
the words of JD Torb just sent a shiver down my spine. I'm terrified.
I believe in the JD Torb.
I believe.
I want to see it.
Well, I mean, so here's what we have so far. In Ruby, you have to run Maga this season, and JD's got to run Torb this season.
Torb, yes.
This is going to be hell for everybody involved.
I'm up to Maga. Oh no.
I feel like the worst part is that, unironically, the Maga loses the matchup.
Yeah, Maga does lose the matchup.
Maga loses every matchup. It's kind of hard not to lose a matchup.
Yeah.
It's simply the tank life.
Speaking of tank life, and speaking of another segue, Andrew, you're playing tank in Ruby. Welcome to the squad, brother. Except you're on the wrong side of history, as Philly has lost not one, but 2 times.
Eternally second place.
Eternally. That being said, you do have some good players around you. We've seen Choco, we've seen Foliage. Chunky is in there with you guys. Cloyce, I think, is a newbie for me. I don't think I've seen. We got Fresh the Goat hanging out as well. But Andrew, you definitely, you gotta hype up the squad a little bit. Talk your game. Talk what's up, buddy.
All right, so basically the idea that they went for signing, they just get 2 very, very strong DPS, and then just let the rest of the team be whatever, and like coach them into like just a cohesive team. So we've had our one like full kind of roster scrim we've gotten, and it went pretty well for us. I think we like kind of clicked after a couple games and like really like came together on like our ideas of like attacking and like who we pick to like really jump on. But yeah, I see JD. Yeah, I mean they're crazy, so they can carry us. Hey, that works out.
Very fair. Talking to some people who have not only played with some of the other guys on the squad, but have played against as well. Choco and Foliage now, took a season off the DPS to really hone in his great support skills. Now back on the DPS, making me scared out of my britches.
Correct response.
Right. I mean, it's just bad.
That DPS line is genuinely terrifying.
Like, yeah, even that's a scary DPS line to, especially with the current patch. Terrifying DPS line.
Andrew, so long as you and like your backline can stay alive, I feel like they're just kind of unstoppable.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's how it goes, but we'll see how the season turns out.
Right.
Very modest as always.
Yeah. From watching and like streaming the matches of Ruby last season too, dude, it is terrifying seeing Chocoman on any character.
Yeah,
the dude kills it from anywhere.
His line of sight is a kill zone. There's a giant red box on the field, and it's his vision. It's terrifying. You can't.
It turns into the Terminator scene where he's just like seeing everything in red, looks at the guy, and instantly all the outcomes are just kill.
Actually, Choco is terrifying.
I mean, yeah, like even the match being played right now, Mexico City would have taken it to 5 on circuit, but on the last possible second, Choco 1v4s or 5s, if I remember correctly. I think I was solo casting that and basically just started screaming throughout my apartment when it happened. Like it was insane. Like, and again, we're talking a lot about Choco. Foliage is also nutty on the DPS.
No, yeah, he's a freak. I played a whole semester with him. He was on my team at school, and the guy is just so reliable. And he, especially on that team, he was like our backbone. He was constantly drawing up a plan. He was keeping our heads in the games, even like if it was getting tough, and especially him playing Hanzo on a payload map is disgusting. That guy does not miss a single shot.
I remember season 2 in the finals. I was diffed 1,000 times. I was not a fan. But yeah, I mean,
can't take second for Philly.
I was just about to say, as great as this team is, they're destined for second. So moving on to the best team, that is the 2-time champions of the world, undefeated in my eyes. Definitely not right. We got Pittsburgh, and a miraculous thing has happened, by the way. I have visibly, is not the right word. I literally, that's the word I wanted for. I went to Bowser, and I got him drunk. And I told him, hey, I want to play support this season, because that's what I can do, and not play mid-tier DPS on May only.
Two-time championship May. Your May is disgusting.
Imagine what I can do now that I'm on support, other than feed my brains off.
Not get beautiful walls. That's
here's
what you
the
can't
thing.
do.
I'm just saying you doomed yourself to no longer be a winner because you're no longer on May. Both seasons except for one, you were on May. Just saying.
Impossible. Yeah, but we also won because we're Pittsburgh. Having said that, another big thing that we had to our success, as much as I would love to ego myself, is we had a very good team surrounding us. And, you two, again, great players, joined in for Pitt. Surely you'll get your rewards someday if they haven't come already.
I got one of them.
We got one. Trust me, I had been on Bowser's ass about it for a while now, so he knows. He's trying to figure it out. But, look at the roster now. Foliage did us a favor and brought us our new tank. Because early Foliage was like, yeah, I'm going to bring in this guy. He's going to be ace in the hole. Then he realized, crap, there's a salary cap. He's gone.
And then I replaced them.
Hey, man, listen. You're on the squad that's going to get second place. It's going to be great. You're going to lose to this guy, though. Vanguard comes in on the tank roll.
The guy's a monster.
Comes out.
This dude was so scary. I kept being dipped and damaged by them 4,000.
He is genuinely. He used to be our manager, and I would only run into him in ranked sometimes, and he just is so consistent, and what he's good at will I don't know. He is the king of consistency, I would say. That guy is so good. And genuinely, when I saw he was in the league, I got a little scared. Connor scares me. Vanguard scares me.
Honestly, I mean, talking to the guy and, playing a little bit with him, I can see why Pittsburgh going on the third time of just get scary tank, win championship. But not only that, but for a second season in a row, we've stolen more Philadelphia people. Last season we stole U2, won a championship. This season we stole Stan, and even though Danger Noodle wasn't Philly last season, she was in the past, so I'm counting it.
She was with us, yeah.
Oh, when you guys lost! Crazy.
Damn.
Insane.
Listen. But that just means that you have an aspect of second place on your team now.
Yeah.
Impossible. I refuse to acknowledge that legitimate claim. But no, we have some pretty good DPS joining us.
We do.
Yes, come back to Pitt.
Yes,
Win
again. Sorry.
My
bad.
Damn.
Sorry, my head, I'm still in Pitt.
Go Halifax.
My bad.
Yeah, you can brainwash her all you want. She's coming back to Pitt, baby. But this DPS, duo we have, Daniel, insane on the hit scan. We've seen it for season after season. Stan is a very good player who can flex over and kind of fill in the role where needs be. Much as I love myself and playing a game, clearly this team's biggest kind of question mark is the support line. Me and Recon are very good friends, but the way that meta is looking right now of Rush, how well does that stack up to other teams, I think is kind of what we need to wait and see.
Yeah. I think it's just generally right now it's a wait and see. So long as there's no can we Valk incident, I think you guys will be pretty good.
Can you explain that one to me? What was that about?
Oh, the Can We Valk accident. So was it a scrim?
Yeah, it was a scrim.
It was a scrim. We were scrimming and we called for Valk. Like Adbon called for Valk, and Recon just didn't hear it. I don't know what was going on. We called for it for like 10 minutes straight. It's like, can we Valk? Can we Valk? No response. Nothing.
Bro was cranking the tunes.
That's
The
what I do.
man was in there. He always makes fun of me when I tell him I have Spotify playing during games.
Really?
Yes, he
It's
makes fun of me religiously. Thank you.
It's the only way to
Hear
do
that,
this.
Mike? We're calling your ass out. How does it feel? No, but not to spill the juice a little bit, but he might have done that during our scrim the other night as well. We called for Cole we called for Cole like 2 or 3 times, and then I had to like audibly scream, "Mike, use your alt." So we gotta work on some volume settings for him.
We love Recon.
Recon's goaded.
Recon's a 2-time, but you know who isn't a 2-time?
Exactly. Two-time
Two-time
champion. Champion? I can
Best
see.
Moira and pick comp.
True.
Thank
Oh,
you,
my God.
And Moira is meta.
Know who isn't a 2-time though is San Diego's. It is their first appearance. I'd say this: it's Halifax's first appearance in like anything potentially, but you are as well. San Diego comes in and they've got some plays. And I'm not gonna lie, I've heard some good things about Johan, heard some good things about Toast, heard some good things about Deathman. The other two, I have no idea who they are.
I have zero clue except for Toast.
Yeah, we know none of them except for Toast.
Toast on tank.
Toast on tank.
Toast on tank kind of goes hard.
See, like Toast JQ is kind of ferocious, but also like she just knows so much about the game.
She can read people very easily.
She can kind of like knowledge diff people, like 100%.
So then, kind of looking throughout there, as little as we know about level, being their highest sal, do you think Toast would then be obviously also being in tank positioning? Do you think she'd be the one, having the shot caller, setting everything up, going through, kind of being like the foliage and the ad bond of last season's? Soon to be the Minky of this season, stuck on tank. Haha, get told. Big shot caller, little shot caller. What are we thinking there?
It really depends on the dynamic with the rest of the team, because she's told us this herself, where she'll match the energy of the rest of the team. So if the team needs a big shot caller, she will 100% go for it. She'll be like the strongest shot caller the team will have. But if there's like other people who are like balancing that dynamic, she'll fill in where she's needed, sort of thing, with calling.
Okay. Yeah. So then, her kind of playing to the level of the team, I think definitely is a very strong suit.
Mm-hmm.
Now that has to be said, I think, Andrew, you were talking to me about Johan a little bit before we started, or was that Biscuit? And I'm going insane. Okay, so then thoughts on Johan. What do you know? What do you not know? Spill the goods. Spill the beans.
I believe they are from Great Britain, but they are pretty crazy on DPS. I had like some sniper duel between me, Johan, Foliage, and someone else, and they kind of him and Foliage kind of just ruined us collectively. we kind of got wrecked by them. But yeah, I think they're very strong on Cassidy too. I've seen that. So they hit their shots pretty well.
So also, another hit scan demon.
Yeah. Also, I think they're a console player. So very strong and on the unique game.
On the sticks.
On the roller.
Pulling up the sticks. I kind of like it. Adds a little bit of the flair to it. So then, anything else? Sorry to cut you off.
I mean, that was kind of it. But I expect them to be pretty strong, at least for my expectations.
That's kind of like what I want to go into for San Diego, especially because for expectations for them, I'm trying to think. Deathman, I don't think played last season, but I think unless they jumped up from Emerald,
Maybe.
which I don't think they did either. No, they were on what was the team? Kansas City. Deathman is in the chat. Deathman Goat. Yes, so on a team, that kind of didn't really get a chance to prove themselves a whole lot. Didn't have a great record. Deathman, this is your redemption arc. We're calling it now. You're with Toast the Goat, Johan, I can't think of a rhyme, and oh god, level Maniac, what rhymes with Maniac? So
Goat and boat festival.
hey, don't nope.
No.
Toast Goat definitely rhyme.
Toast goat. There's boat.
Tote. The toast of all
goat and the
time.
boat with the Santa Armada.
Best of all time. I don't know.
So, with that team stacking up the way that it is, I am kind of excited to see, like we talked about, a little bit of a redemption arc. But also, I don't know anything about Corrupt, and I don't think anybody else here does, question mark?
No.
Not to my knowledge. Man is a mystery.
Surely we're playing against a top 500 Mercy one trick of the world on the DPS roll, of course.
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, San Diego, I'm kind of excited to see.
I'm also
especially
pretty
because
excited to see.
I like their logo a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
It looks so
solid.
nice. I love their colors. I want the colors.
It's so good, right?
I love their
Very
colors.
cool with the team.
And therefore, they're number one now.
All right, power rankings come out. San Diego number 1, just because colors. It's said and done. Don't care about the rest. Move on now.
Number 2, Halifax, because also blue. Both blue. Both.
Yeah.
Both
Well, okay. Well, hold on.
I like blue.
No.
Blue color code.
No. Yellow's surely a
What?
better color than blue.
I
don't think anyone-
That's too neutral.
Honestly, I don't think anyone has ever said that sentence out loud, that yellow is a better color than blue. And if somebody has, please go seek
It's
help.
proven.
Look, it depends on the shade of yellow and the.
Oh, here we go.
So
Look,
Pikachu,
I will
for the record,
agree with
Pikachu proves nothing about this. Pikachu is not part of the topic about the coloring. The
Yeah.
most recognized Pokemon. Who cares about that thing? If anything, Charizard is actually. So
I mean, to be fair, I hate Pikachu, but power rankings. Power rankings.
Power rankings.
Going from 6 up again, I think is kind of just a nice lay of the land. Gives everybody what they want. Who do we have at 6, ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
I don't know if I know enough about all teams to even try to guess. I think I don't have a good enough eye for this one.
Well, this is the best part. You get to make a bold prediction, and everybody yells at you later on.
Oh, I do what I did last season. Where
Right.
What if we all?
Dude, that's what we did.
Overthinking on 3.
All right, for number 6.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me look at the teams again. All right. Ooh. This is interesting. Got it.
No clue.
I think I got it.
All right. Who's giving the countdown?
Okay, 3, 2,
4,
1.
3,
San Diego.
Chicago.
2, 1. San Diego. Wait.
Damn.
I love the delay.
This year didn't even vote.
Oh, I
said-
said Chicago.
I
We're
said
bummed.
Chicago.
Oh, you
Field.
vote Chicago?
Oh, you
I think I was
was
actually going to
fine.
say Chicago, but then my mind heard San Diego, so I just randomly said it.
I think for me, I have Chicago, San Diego as the bottom 2, so I already being outvoted will put them down. But I can definitely see why. Just a whole lot of mystery going on in that team. Not really sure where the big commodity comes from.
Yeah.
It's all kind of just like unclear, and I feel like there isn't a distinct, like, I feel like we've seen this with many teams over the seasons where there's been like a distinct, like, powerful core of the team and then people surrounding it who like support it.
Yes.
And I don't think Chicago has that, I feel, or at least that's apparent right now until we see them play.
Right. Until all of a sudden they pull out like, oh yeah, by the way, we've known each other for thousands of years. We've seen God, and you bring up a good point. The teams that have seen the most success have had a very strong core, and Chicago, as great players as they have picked up, does kind of feel like the hodgepodge team setup, or at least one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So then, after Chicago, we go to number 5, which I would say San Diego. Then,
yeah,
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for Toast Goat.
5 is Pitt. You guys suck.
That's crazy. The 2-time.
They're perpetually second place.
They're gonna be second place. They're gonna be.
They gotta be second
Wait,
place.
no, Pitt, not.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm tired. Bear with me. It's been a day. Man, I've been up since early in the morning. Bear with me.
Jeez.
Yeah, Fifth San Diego. I think that's.
Yeah, Fifth is definitely, at least from the current state of things, Fifth would be.
I want to see Level Maniac play. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm curious to see how a lot of these new players are.
Right, because past couple seasons we've seen a lot of the same players circulate and rotate around. It is very interesting to see now the league is getting a little bit more depth into it. That we have basically a full team. We have 2 full teams of I don't really know what's going on here. Let's kind of see how it goes. So then we have Chicago, we have San Diego. Here's where we have to pick one of the boys to go down.
Yeah.
Who takes 4th?
I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie, and this is gonna be a hot take. And
I think I might be making
some
the
support in the chat for this, but I'm thinking Houston.
Really?
I'm thinking Houston.
Like they're all strong individually, but it really depends on the dynamic of the team. And like
how loud can Adbon yell at them all to get their shit together?
How loud can Adbon be? And
I'm not sure if because actually I really can't tell, but I'm excited.
CD.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's it. I'm locking in Houston for 4th.
JD, you can leave Houston Flames and come be our reserve.
Yes. Please.
Roll up. We can. Don't worry. You'll get plenty of games. I have too many exams.
The poaching.
It doesn't matter. I've locked him in for 4th.
The GOAT.
Yeah, man comes out of retirement. You just slander him on national
I'm not
TV.
slandering. We love the man. We're a JD supporting household.
That was a true statement.
Yeah.
Okay. But 4th place.
I do see your guys' point though of a lot of strong pieces. Hard to tell how they fit together in order to form a cohesive team.
Mm-hmm.
So then it comes again now to somebody's gonna get the feelings hurt. Mm-hmm. Who takes 3rd? And I have my pick, but I'm going to wait because it's my show and I'm doing what I want.
Hold on.
But I said the last one.
Oh wait, Andrew, got a hot take right now?
Oh.
I'm gonna not be supervised. I'm gonna put Philadelphia 3rd.
Really?
I do think we're super strong, but also I actually just have no clue for the other teams. That's kind of the reason. I kind of just don't have a comparison for the others.
This is bad.
I actually agree with that.
Agree with the fact that Philly should be 3rd, or agree with the fact that okay, really?
Yes.
Interesting.
I feel like Philly has a similar issue with Philly last season, and a lot of teams that we've seen, because the whole thing is, or like I was talking about earlier with like a strong core, if you localize the core too much, as in think like Chicago in 2 seasons ago, how it was Adbon Choco,
right,
and then effectively everyone else, they're kind of too pigeonholed, I feel. So Philly, I think, is going to have another tough time, but they'll still have that stopping power. It's just working around it, and then once you crack it, it might be difficult to stay in.
See, I don't think Philly's third. Because I like, we talked about it earlier. Choco foliage, yes, like you just mentioned, it is kind of, and fresh for that matter, localizing the synergy and the cohesion a little bit. But I think that at least foliage makes up for it in the fact that you also mentioned season 2, the man with a plan. Plan A through
He's
D.
the man with the plan. I do agree with that.
So having the ability to kind of bring up the team and talk throughout each fight, plan through it, have that analytical mind behind it, I think that helps push the team surrounding it above. I think I've been outvoted for this, so I will put it down, but I want my thoughts to be heard.
And we love your thoughts, Soup.
Yeah, you loved him enough to leave. Crazy.
Listen,
Bowsy didn't know.
I was thrown onto a team before they even existed. So
that's actually true.
This is valid. This is 100% valid. So now it comes down to the deserters of the champions and the 2-time runners.
What do you pick, Soup, for number 2?
So
I'm curious.
Here's what I did last season. Last season when I came in for the preseason podcast, I put Pittsburgh second, and I think Philly first. Somebody can for sure pull up the clip and show me how wrong I was.
I feel like I remember that.
I definitely put Pittsburgh second. I think looking at both teams now, and kind of knowing where the meta is, my issue is we brought it up a couple times, but we don't know what the mid-season Houston was first. That's what it was. We don't know what the mid-season patch is going to look like. We have a lot of characters have been buffed back into existence. Zen is, kind of untouchable right now in certain regard. But I think that where the meta shifts will kind of determine this. I still, love Pitt. Love you guys, so no hard feelings either way. I think looking at it, I would put a little bit more faith into the Pitt roster than your guys'.
See, I think on a mirror matchup, Connor dissed me. Vanguard dissed me. That guy might eat me. However,
in a mirror matchup in the other regards, because I know, I think it comes down to which DPS shows up.
Yes.
Because our tanks roll you, your supports roll us. So now it comes down to Boy Wonder, Jay Swessler versus Danger and Stan. And who can kind of pick up the slack from there.
Yeah. You know what? See, I kind of agree.
yeah.
I think we go second, but also I think that changes halfway through the season. I think we go first later.
Crazy how power rankings cannot change once they're submitted.
Yeah,
actually.
No, but mentally. Fake.
No,
fake power. Fake power rankings.
Mentally even.
Economically.
Economical power rankings.
So, final, so to speak, as they're locked in, I have to send them to the yard. Chicago, San Diego, Houston, Philly, Lance, and 2-time going for the 3-peat. Pittsburgh on top. Never gonna lose.
Except you will in the finals to us as well.
I don't know if you saw, but we actually have so much confidence. We already started dancing about it.
Man.
The video is absolute gold. But I am excited to see how the other teams play up because legitimately, I think last season, what happened was you looked at the teams and you were like, all right, there's 5 teams, 3 of which could rotate around for first, second, third, and then the bottom 2 are unfortunately going to be the bottom 2. Yeah. I think that's happening again this season, but this time the top 4. I look at Houston, Philly, Lance, and Pittsburgh, and I think those 4 are probably going to be rotating around a little bit, especially as that season goes on. So I'm curious to see, like we talked about, that mid-season patch come up and what changes.
Yeah, and like even the decision of the power, like right now, it's still like so close that it is tough to really pick right now. I think it will change throughout the season, especially when we see patches and teams figuring out what they're good at, like us last season.
Yeah. It took us 2 games to figure out pick comp.
Pick comp, the existence of pick comp. Yeah, I think things will change once people get to practice, once people play and mess around. But I think it'll be a very fun season to play.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts? For any final comments? Any final jabs you want to throw into potential people listening named JD and/or Foliage specifically?
No, JD,
they're in the chat.
JD's my goat. Bowsy, I love you. Pitt smells bad. Halifax rolls. And
Scott, drop the info.
And Scott, drop the video, please.
Yeah, what
Please.
weakness are we talking about? I would like to know as well as a Pitt player. Just wanted to, slide in. I would love to know the weakness of my team. Surely, no, he's not. All right, well, that's rough. So, confidential is a bad word. I don't like it. But, we've got Ruby, we've got Emerald. Couple other things before we kind of wrap up fully. Big things is that we've mentioned a couple times. Season is actually going to be split into 7 weeks this time. And one of the newer things with those matches is maps this season is going to be determined by loser pick after a set in stone control map. So, typical, once you guys start playing, the control map will go. Whoever wins that, the loser then gets to pick the next map, and so on and so on. So, in order to figure out week 1's set magical control point map, I believe, Andrew, my dear boy, you've got a great wheel that you would like to share with the class.
I do indeed. We do have a wheel for control for first week, or first map pick.
Bringing back the wheel, ladies and gentlemen.
The wheel returns!
Everyone's
wheel.
so excited.
I love this wheel.
So, yeah, like we talked about, wheel is here. It's going to determine the fixed control point. Once that is spun, that is where every game will start. From then on out, it will be loser's pick. Week 2, we will not see the same control point. We will take it out of the wheel and then spin for another. But for now, I wish we had a drum roll sound effect. I don't think I can replicate one by smacking things around on my desk hard enough. But I think it's time to see where we are going to be starting up for control. Let's give that puppy a spin, my boy.
Ooh, Oasis seems to be the pick.
Now, I have my thoughts about Oasis. Take it or leave it. Not gonna lie. Pretty good. Think there's some better ones on there. For my friends still with me, Andrew, Minky, and Azume, how do we feel about this? Okay, well, I see good map, I see bad map, so clearly we have dissenting opinions.
I actually like it.
I don't have a huge issue with Oasis. It really depends on what kind of comp you're running, but and kind of the mental of the whole team going into the map. But otherwise, I really don't think Oasis is that bad of a map.
See, I think Oasis is bad because I was always put on Monkey.
Oh.
I was just about to say, I think Oasis is one of those maps where you can try and get away with mixing it up between point and point, or you can just play dive the entire time and get forced Monkey.
Where are you?
I can kind of see Diva. Diva might make a return somewhere. But kind of like what you said, mid, it's not like no opinion one way or the other. Mickey's just upset he can't play Malga on Oasis all the time.
I'm so devastated.
No, you can play it on University.
Yay!
Oh my god, it's happening. We've done it, ladies and gentlemen. I think other than that, Oasis is a pretty good time. But, so all of our, I gotta do math, 6 games? Surely there are 6 games in week 1. All 6 games will start out on Oasis and devolve into the chaos that then follows suit. Other than that, I think that kind of signs us out for preseason, unless anybody wants to get in some final words before the season starts.
Very excited. Gonna be very fun. I can't wait.
Game very good. League fun. Join. Yay.
Join
Good
us.
game. One thing I did forget to mention, in case people were wondering, that yes, it is going to be control, then hybrid, then capture the flag, flashpoint. That's what it's called. Then Servos only. Then escort, then push. If we make it to 5 maps, I think that has only happened in UR history like twice? Question mark. So that was just one thing I needed to say. Other than that, I think we're all set. Huge shout out to everyone behind the scenes, putting the sheet together, putting the rosters together. Big shout outs to Biscuit and my dear friends Nazuma and Mickey for joining Andrew and I. Big shout out for Andrew for being great at the stream stuff, because I don't know how to do it. And a big shout out to me for being a 2-time champion, actually.
Alright.
Big shout out to Soup.
We love you, Soup.
Hey,
I'm
a
love
2-time
myself too. Actually, you know what? Big shout out for all the players out there. Everybody deserves some love, especially the 2 times. Or the champions in general. This has been a call full of champions, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yes.
You're getting 100% the correct opinion on everything we've said.
And shout out JD. I know he hates me, but I love him.
We love you, JD.
Shout out Dark.
Please forgive us.
It's not my fault. I swear, we're just poor.
With that, I think we're going to wrap it. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we look forward to a great season.
Good night. Thanks for having us.
I'm alone, I'm a broken home. I gave you all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go, I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down. If you want adventure, then fly to home. But if you wanna travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go.